Well, what's going on, gear lovers, and welcome back to another blade review here at Gideonstactical. I'm Aaron, hanging out with you. We are going to be breaking down a buck knife, particularly a buck pocket knife, and I have not reviewed a buck pocket knife in quite a while here at the channel for a few reasons, and the one reason is quality control. The quality control lately, particularly on their overseas produced blades, has been all over the place. And also the designs, a lot of them are just really weird and wonky. But this Hiline XL cleaver design really stood out to me. And I am really pleased to report, even though it is an overseas produced D2 steel design, and I'm really glad that they went with D2. D2 is a big upgrade over like 7CR that they sometimes do with their overseas produced stuff. And what I have found is D2 will usually hold its edge a little longer than Buck's 420HC that they normally use. Now 420HC will sharpen up and be a little finer, like quicker, hair popping sharp faster than D2, but D2 will tend to hold its edge a little bit longer. And what is great is on top of the fact that they chose D2 for this model is that I have not only this model, but the Hiline XL in this model right here, and I am having a really difficult time finding any issues with the quality control. There's no weirdness in the centering of the blades, the grind geometries, like centering, you know, they're not wonky grinding, lockups, things like that. Really, really impressed. So I'm really looking forward to unpacking this design with you, highlighting the aspects and capabilities, but also a few limitations that I'm potentially seeing to help you better determine if this is the right tool for you. And this is based off of the original Buck Hiline, which is a frame lock design and a little bit more compact. This is a liner lock design. Leave a comment below. Let me know which type of lock you prefer, and I will also be having a poll over on the YouTube community page where you can vote. If I remember correctly, the last time I kind of presented this, more people preferred liner locks over frame locks. I don't really care as long as they function properly, and we'll unpack whether or not these do or not. Now, one thing right out of the gate that impressed me a lot outside of the fit and finish and quality control on these is the handle ergonomics. The handle is very organic, no weird craziness, odd shapes or anything like that. Really fills out my large size hand very nicely. I really enjoyed that. Really encapsulated my hand well. Even though it doesn't really have like a guard, the sweep is just so organic and really felt like I was in control. Got plenty of real estate out the back end. And it's going to be overall 5 inches, so it'll definitely take up some real estate in your pocket. The gripping portion, you know, because that's actually where your hand's gonna go, is basically 4 inches, maybe let's say 3.75 inches overall length right there. Flow through construction. This model has really cool like seafoam green standoffs. This one's black, or now this is more like I don't know, maybe stonewash in there on that model. So, but flow through construction, we'll determine whether or not that makes sense in a little bit. And then micarta handle inlays with aluminum bolsters. So this is black micarta on black aluminum. This is going to be black micarta with a kind of different texture on standard like color aluminum there. And then they do have like a gold version as well in the full size, or excuse me, in this extra large version. And then the original also, I believe, has some micarta inlays, which is awesome. So, and then stainless steel liners. But thankfully, it's not super heavy. At 4.1 ounces on the weight means that even though it's a good size, we could argue extra large blade, it isn't super heavy. So they really did a good job with that aspect. And the ergonomics, to me, particularly if you're like a chef, I think this is an excellent chef's knife. For someone who loves to cook or someone who that is your career, this would be an excellent gift and or EDC option to gift to somebody who just loves cooking and stuff, because you got that nice little hit of jimping there. It's not sharp, but you can really control the blade, get up on it, pinch, do really precision cuts, but then have good grip points here, pinch here. Even the like buck bolster is recessed and kind of divoted, so it feels like a little bit of a pinch point there to really control cuts. So ergonomically, I have zero complaints, and they really did, I think, a bang-up, knockout job. Now, before we get here to the blade itself, I want to just thank you guys, the viewers. I do invite you to subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit that like button. And really, with you guys in partnership with our regular sponsors here at the channel, helps me to create content and continue to do what I do here. So appreciate you guys so much. And I do want to take a moment to give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Huckberry. And what I personally appreciate about Huckberry is the quality of gear and equipment that they carry. For example, Reigning Champ athletic apparel that uses old school manufacturing techniques to handcraft their gear in Vancouver, Canada. Or you guys hear me talk about Flint & Tinder all the time, which offers many hoodie and jacket designs that are both sourced and built right here in the USA, while simultaneously offering a great selection of Leatherman multi-tools, Italian-made giant mouse pocket knives, GoRuck packs and equipment, as well as Danner boots. They are really creating a one-stop shop for good quality equipment. And now's the perfect opportunity during their annual Huckberry Winter Sale going on February 7th through the 11th for you to score amazing deals on that top tier gear item that you've had your eye on and you've just been waiting for the right opportunity. Well, now's your chance. So I'll have a link in the description box below this video over to the Huckberry website, as well as my exclusive 10% off promo code that you can apply towards your very first purchase year round. Now, when it comes to this blade, you got two options. You got the like Darth Vader, black on black, bam, 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 with the like black acid wash. I wouldn't be super concerned about that if for food prep, but if you are, there's obviously the two other versions are gonna have the stone wash finish there. So it kind of just depends. Maybe for those who are not really planning on doing a lot of food prep, maybe go with that one, even though again, it's not really a coating per se. I get maybe it is. I don't know. This one obviously also looks great. If you like stone wash, it looks super dope. Now, you may have noticed the grind, and that was the first thing that I was like, oh, that's cool. It's an extremely high, I almost said Scandi, hollow grind. Now, there's a simple way to tell. You can take any like ruler that you know is nice and rigid, and if there's a little gap, you can see this little gap in the concaving. That's how you can tell if it's a hollow or a flat or saber. That way. So we have a very high hollow grind, meaning it's going to have insane edge geometry on this main, you know, like the grind edge area. We'll talk about edge performance here in a moment, but great sweeping, that slight concaving, think of like a razor blade potentially, and really precise tip. The tip is insanely precise there, even though the stock is 0.15, yeah, on the stock, and it basically holds it all the way and then transitions quickly to tip. So that's partly why they did the hollow, is you got that robustness of stock, but really fine concaving of the edge itself with that little bit of a sheep's foot that would be able to pierce packaging, things like that, because it has a slight angle. And I prefer that over just like a flat cleaver. I'm thinking of like the Gerber flat iron, you know, or something like that. I prefer something a little bit more sheep's foot-ish. And then we have just the slightest of sweeps, just a hair. And it did excellent for the majority of cuts. Pull cuts particularly is where this thing is gonna really like excel. You engage and pull towards you. It just accelerates the cut, goes through a lot. The one aspect that I did notice just a little bit, and this is my one critique, is I was kind of surprised that the edge, the actual edge right there, that you're engaging with the material, was a little thick for me. I was expecting it to be a little bit thinner, maybe a little higher. And I did have to put a little more pressure than I thought on, say, going through like a lime rind and some of those other aspects that I really wasn't expecting. Now that's easily, you know, remedied with just getting any sort of sharpener and just bringing up that edge and bringing the relief edge slightly higher on this. You know, with just a little bit of elbow grease, you could do that and really begin to make it scream. So it was good, but it wasn't like screaming capable when I was using it, which was a little odd to me. Again, easily rectified. Let me know. I'm using a Field Sharp, Work Sharp here. What type of sharpener you're currently using or that you gravitate to? I always like knowing what you guys are using. But good and held the edge well, but would have just liked to have, I guess, just like a little bit of a higher grind. So that is the blade itself. Overall, very pleased and very functional blade shape. 3.75 inches overall blade length. Since we're talking that, I'll just bring out the Buck 110 profile real quick. You can see there. about the same size. Very similar. You will get overall more edge than what you get on a 110 profile, but kind of like pocket size, all that, you're going to get very similar. And since we're talking about it here, we've got the, or like sizing, Voyager, a standard size Voyager from Cold Steel. And pricing, like a Voyager, you know, you can sometimes find them for about 55 to 60 bucks. The Buck XL Hiline is going to be about $55. And from all the options, fit and finish, D2, that's very competitive with other, you know, overseas, Chinese-made cleavers like this model. I will have links in the description box below over to the affiliate networks I partner with, not only for this model, the other variants, some other cleavers, as well as the original Hiline if you want something that's a little bit smaller at 3.7 or 3.25 inches on that smaller one. So those links will all be in the description box below if you're interested. And I do appreciate Buck hooking me up with this model so that I could unpack capabilities, potential limitations for you guys. Now, one thing as well as we get into deployment, check this out. Boom, it sucks into place. The detent is superb, not super hard to overcome, but definitely sucks that blade into place on both of them, which is excellent. And then we have a flipper design with jimping. That's a soft jimping. It's really blocky. It's not going to be sharp, you know, when you engage. And they even have divoted. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, this will be better probably. Divoted the scales right there. So what happens is when you hit that, it just even encapsulates your finger just so nicely right there, making it easy to fly open because, check it, it's on caged bronze ball bearings. So that's bronze like cage inside and then ball bearings inside, which means it just flies. Fly me to the moon, la da 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 da. I mean, it's gonna just coast, baby. And what's awesome is that you have a huge stop bar. Look at that, how big that stop bar is. That's like Cold Steel level right there, just about. And then the spine encapsulates it. Super sweet right there. And then the liner lock, really well done. Engages well, doesn't create a hot spot, has just a hair popping above the scale, so I never had an issue. And because it's kind of a wide gap right there, I mean, very easy to disengage and then, you know, close. And you can even kind of like use the back of your fingers and whoosh, flick it open without even touching that. I mean, it is a fidget-friendly tool that is really nice. Tip is really recessed and buried in that handle right there. Very, very, very well done. Great. And the lockup is really good too. You're going to get ever so slight play side to side. Most ball bearing designs are going to have that, but very tight lockup up and down for a liner lock. And both of these are going to have that. So not any play up and down. It's very, very solid on both of these models. So I was really pleased with that aspect as well. And because of the flipper, making it so easy to deploy like that, you also are going to get an ambidextrous pocket clip. Now the pocket clip is, I would say, mediocre. Now you're going to get a blacked out if you go with the Darth Vader version, right there. So that's cool. If not, it'll match the stonewash there. You're going to get a little bit of flex, loop over deep ride, ambidextrous with a little plate right there, so that's good. No complaints on that. They do not have the recessed screws. That would have been preferred. Thankfully, because there's enough flex, enough of a gap, I never had it bind up on any of my pants, even the hardware pants I'm wearing right now for like working, you know, like reinforced pockets and stuff. So that is really good, but it would have been better to have them just like completely recessed. Pretty big flare. Thankfully, it's kind of rounded. You could bend that down ever so slightly. It's not really necessary. They could have like cut that flare in half and still been fully functional. But the flare thankfully didn't create really a hot spot for me because of how large the handle is, and it just tended to like cocoon and encapsulate just the meat of my hand, and I never was like, oh, this is painful. So that's really good as well. So guys, that is the Hiline XL. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with what Buck has done on this model, and I hope they continue to follow suit in this kind of vein of stepping up the quality control a little bit, making sure that they're using at least, I would say, average materials with D2 for, you know, an overseas produced knife, but zero complaints with fit and finish, form, function. A little bit of elbow grease on the edge can just bring it up a little bit, at least on my model. And other than that, guys, really cool option for those of you who like cleaver style. So leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts, particularly if you own one of these. either the Hiline original or the XL. How has it been performing for you? And any drawbacks that you've seen in the design. Always appreciate your guys' comments, feedback, and again, to subscribe, I invite you to do so if you haven't yet. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.